Welcome back, Art Invaders, to a new tutorial. Today we will create this mesmerizing animation, but before we start, you have to know the crazy story behind this project.
Previously. Hey bro, I have a problem. We're supposed to create exciting animations with everyday life objects for a project at university. One inspiration would be the artist Sayphurr with his gaming CDs. I have the typical winter slump and my creativity is zero. Help me.
Is this cheating? Is that okay? Fear, is that okay?
The tiresome ChatGPT, nothing's matter. Let's help him and let's name for safety.
I got the message. Let's read it together. Oh my god, I'm in big trouble now. Oh, what happened here? Find the code in the video and get project files. Be quick, Art Invaders. The files are only freely available for 24 hours after the video release.
The 3D objects.
Alright, let's start with the tutorial and let's help our friend to create a cool project for university. It's all from my perspective how I would handle it. And yeah, let's open Blender and let's delete the light, the cube and the camera with the X key. And to create a CD, we need first a main object. A cylinder is good. And we use this window here to transform it. Tappa tappa, CD size, tappa tappa, tappa tappa. Alright, I found an image. Let's use it as references. I will tell you, of course, the values, so you don't need it. Okay, let's change first the radius. The whole Blender project is in meters. We have to calculate it in centimeters. So here we need 0.118. And for depth, we need 0.02. And now we have... Okay, it's way too thick. 0.002. Now it's right. Okay, let's rotate it by 90 degrees in Y. And let's switch in the X perspective. As you can see, we have still edges here on the sides. To fix it, we also have to increase the vertices. Okay, and now we have our perfect CD shape. To make it more realistic, I would say let's bevel the edges. To bevel it, we have to go here under the modifier tag, and here's the bevel deformer. And to see how the bevel deformer works, we have to increase first the segments. Here we need around 15, I don't know. And the edges are already beveled, but let's increase it for a better result. 0.3 looks perfect. Now we will work with more cylinders. So let's rename it first to main. And let's copy and paste it. Rename it to inside. To transform the cylinder now, we have to work with the transform window here on the side. And under scale, we change it here to 0.31. In Y, also 0.31. And in Z by 3. Let's check how it looks like. Alright, yeah, that looks good. Let's select again the main object. And let's make it a little bit thicker, like 2 in Z. That looks good. Okay. Later we will create the hole in the CD, but to make it more simple, we will join the object. So that's the reason why we have to create now our materials. Select inside, go here under the material tag, press new material, select now main. And the main CD have in real life in the front a print and on the other side the typical holographic CD material. So we need two materials on one object. To do this, select main, go to the edit mode. Now the whole object is selected. Press here again new material and press assign. Now this material works for the whole object. So now go here on the top to the area selection and select only the front of the CD. There will be our print later on. And to create here a new material, press the plus icon, press now plus new material and press again assign. And now this part have to be other material than the rest. Let's check if it really works. So let's change here the color to black and we change to viewport shading number 3 and the front is black and the rest of the CD have other material. Perfect, it works. So let's rename this material to print and this to CD. Okay, let's switch back to X. Let's switch back to object mode. And let's switch back to viewport shading number 2. And now we will create the hole in the CD. So to make the whole workflow simple, select main and inside and join it. So now we have one object. Now we add a new cylinder, rotate it first by 90 degrees in Y, and the radius to 0.02, and the depth we can increase it something bigger than the main CD. Now we select our main object, and we need the Boolean modifier. If you don't find it here under the modifiers, you have to install the free preset in Blender. It's in all versions, freely available. Go under Preferences, search here for Bool, put a check mark, press refresh. Then you will find this option here. Take the Piper tool, select the cylinder, and make it now invisible. Alright, it don't work. Yeah, what we can do. Let's press this button here. Okay, now it works. And yeah, now we have our perfect CD, and that's it for the 3D object part. Vote now for the upcoming tutorial. Here's the top 5 projects you sent to me, and you decide what's next. Vote now in the comments. Got a suggestion? Send me on Instagram or TikTok an example and a short story on why this tutorial. Let's build something epic together.
The materials.
Alright, now we came to the cool part, the material part. But before we start, let's add a camera. You can find it here. Play now with the location values and the rotation values until you find a perspective that you like. Alright, so if you want to use the same values as me, these are my location values and these are my rotation values. So let's move on. First we switch here under the output tag and we change our format. Here I use 1080 by 1350 pixels. It's a typical Instagram format. If you want something different, change it. And today we will work with the Cycles renderer because it is a university project. It has to be perfect. So to switch the renderer, we switch here to Cycles. So here we switch also maximum sample first to 50 and here also to 50. Switch now to viewport shading number 4 on the top and let's split the view in two. And here we change to shader editor and change again to viewport shading number 4. So let's start now with the lightning. We worked first with the HDRI map. You can find the HDRI map on my Patreon. Link is in the caption. So here we search for environment texture and under the folder icon you can insert the HDRI map. Wow! Now we also search for mapping and in the end we also search for texture coordinates. Generated slot. Perfect. Under mapping we can now switch the view of our HDRI map. Play around with the values. So alright, I played around only with the rotation values, if you want the same values as me here. And now we can start creating our materials. So let's start with our first material. Let's switch back to the object mode. Select the main CD and go out of the camera view because we need first the backside. So now we go here under the material tag and we need the CD material. Select it and here it is. Alright, first I would say let's increase metallic to 1, roughness to 0.2. It don't have to be so strong. And to create this typical holographic CD material, we need a tangent. I use it one time in my whole life, but yeah, it is perfect to create a CD material. So to edit this material, we need geometry, but we don't have a slot here, so we have to search first for add. All right, connect add here with the base color, and here we can now put geometry like this, and we have to connect it with incoming, and as you can see, nothing happened because we have now to play with colors and reflections. So make here some space and search for hue/saturation values connected with base color, and if we change now the color to red, the magic will happen. Alright, this looks good. Let's decrease the saturation to 0.7. So now we have to go under the specular tag and let's increase the anustrophic value. Alright, and so now we can also use the anustrophic rotation. And as you can see, the rotation change. Alright, let's change it here to 0.9. It's not really important for how the material look like. It's really important how the material reflect later on the light. Alright, now we will create the print for the foresight of the CD. And let's ask again our friend Google. And let's search for images. CD. I know Mario Kart from GamesCube. Okay, the CD looks really boring. And the quality is also not really good. So we will use now Photoshop. We create our own CD. If you don't have Photoshop, you can skip the part. You can download directly the already created image on my Patreon. Link is in the caption. And yeah, I found this frame. We can use it. And I also find this image. So we can mix it. So let's open now Photoshop. And here's the frame. And I also inserted now here the image. And in the next step, create a circle on the size like the whole CD. And now we work here with the cutting mask. And now we have our perfect print for the CD. Now we can export it as PNG with transparent background. In the next step, select the CD. We copy this part here, copy it, go to print, delete the principal BSDF with X, paste it here inside. Perfect. Now we search here for image texture, also for mapping texture coordinate with the slot UV. Press the folder icon and insert our image. Alright. So to fix the image, we have to play around with the mapping values. That looks good. These are my values. So we also want on the white areas, of course, the typical holographic CD material. So now we have to mix both things together. So search here for mix A, connected with base color. And here we insert the image. Under the mode, we change to darken. And now we have to play around with the factor value. Alright, factor 1 looks perfect. As you can see, the white areas now are also holographic reflective. Wow, this was easy, unexpected. So, because it's also a retro CD or a retro game, I would say we add also a bump map to destroy a little bit the print. To do this, take the normal slot. Let's search for bump. Here we take the height slot and search for image texture. Alright, let's copy and paste texture coordinates and mapping. And let's connect it here with vector. Now we can insert a bump map. Perfect. So let's change here also all values to 0 in the location and rotation and scale to 1. And now we play around with the values in the bump tag. Alright, 0.1 in strength looks good. And now I would say we also change a little bit the scale values because the texture is way too big. Alright, X and Y value 5 make a really cool effect on the print. Okay, in the last step, we select the last material. And here I would say let's create a transparent material. Delete the principal BSDF, and to create it we need a mix shader. Search for glossy BSDF, and for the second slot glass BSDF. Alright, the whole CD have already the anisotropy value, so let's increase it here also to 0.5. Now we get also the reflection here. And on the CD the reflection is in this part. On the rotation you can change the rotation until it fits. Now it's good. Okay, so this part is also a little bit transparent now. Under the factor value, you can increase and decrease the transparent. Yeah, around 0.8 looks perfect. Alright, we are ready with the materials, but I think the CD is a little bit too dark. Let's insert a point light. Under the transform window we can change now the position, but before we change the position let's change the power to 5 because it's way too strong, and the radius a little bit bigger to 0.2. Yeah, that looks good. If you want to use the same location as me, these are my values. And let's change a little bit the color. I would say let's change it to blue as the sky, and now we are ready for this part. Do you want the whole project file?
You can have it.
With over 70 other files that we have already created together, guys. You can find them on my Patreon, the link is in the caption.
The animation.
Alright, welcome back to the animation part. And before we start, we go first under the camera tag and we deselect the denoise. We don't need it for this project. And let's start with the animation. To animate the whole CD, we have to convert it first into a mesh, so all modifier get automatically applied. Alright, and let's duplicate now the CDs with the array modifier. You can find it here. And for count, let's try 10 CDs and factor x 0. And we want that the CDs are one after other. So we have to work with the Z value. Okay, -2, that looks good. Okay, now we want also that the CDs are on top on each other. So we have to work with constant offset, put a check mark under it, and let's go out of the camera view. So let's try -1. What happened? Alright, okay, they are on top on each other, but the distance is too big. Okay, -0.3 looks good. And let's animate everything. First, let's decrease the animation duration to 240 frames. Make the window bigger. So let's start with frame 0. And we have to animate this value. Insert a keyframe in the beginning and let's move the animation slider to frame 90. And here we zero it out and press again the button to create a keyframe. Now it's animated. That looks good. Let's go back in the camera view. Let's insert also a small bounce. Take the last keyframe to frame 100. Go back to 90. And let's take here 0.002. Insert a new keyframe, replace keyframe, and now we have the animation. Small bounce. Let's create a dynamic zoom in and out effect so that the user can see that the CDs are on the top of the animation in the beginning. Select the camera, and here we work with the focal length. Let's take in the beginning a really small value, like 5. Alright, okay, it is really dynamic then, but I think maybe it's cool, let's try. Insert a keyframe in the beginning and let's move the animation slider. Around 60 is a good frame value, and let's increase the focal length now to 50. Yeah, 50. Insert again a keyframe with the button, and now we have this whoosh. Bam, 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 bounce. I think it's cool. I would say let's rotate the whole CDs. Let's go back to frame 0, select the CDs, and insert a keyframe under rotation. Bring the animation slider to the end of the animation. Alright, and let's rotate it by 360 degrees in X. Insert keyframe. Here in this part you can see, okay, it don't look so good. So maybe we decrease the scale of the main object to 1. Okay, it's so much better. So in the end, we want that the whole animation is linear, of course. So change here to the graph editor, select all objects in the scene, and now you have here all animation curves. Go under select, and here on the top is all. Select all points, go now to key, interpolation mode, and change to linear. Alright, and now the animation have the same speed in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end of our animation. Perfect. So now you can render the animation, and let's make some final color adjustments with the free software CapCut. Alright, now you can drag and drop the animation inside of CapCut, and drag it also here in the second window. So let's start first with some color adjustments. Go here under the adjustments window and let's increase saturation by 5, exposure by 5, contrast by 5, and brilliance by 5. This is a typical setup that I always use. And for clarity, we can also increase it by 50. Perfect. Alright, now we can go here under the filter tag, and everywhere where no heart is, you can use the filter preset for free, and clear number 2 is always a good decision. Make it for the whole animation duration. And here you can change the intensity. It is of course way too strong. Change it to around 50. Alright, so let's add now some sounds. I have here some preset sounds that I always use for my videos. And my first thought was this knife sound in the beginning. Maybe it is cool. Let's try it. Alright, I really like the sound, but the animation is way too slow. So to fix it, go under speed and we change it to 1.5. Okay, that looks good. Let's search now for the coin sound of Super Mario. Maybe we can find it here. And yeah, we have it here. Press the plus icon to insert it. And duplicate it now 10 times, because we have 10 CDs. Alright, okay, let's try it. Bam. Cool. So now let's use a typical Mario Kart sound. I don't find one here in CapCut. The best sound of Mario Kart is of course when you get a star. You can download the sound on my Patreon. So drag and drop the sound into the project. That looks good. Alright, now we can create a perfect loop out of the animation. Copy and paste the animation. Go now under edit. Reverse. Now bring the whole filter to the whole duration of the animation. And now copy and paste the sounds here also on the right spot. And then you have a perfect loop animation.
Hello, Art Invader. I handed in your project, and my lecturer said that my work was far too good. I confessed to him that you had done that. The police will contact you. It was just a joke. As discussed, I asked my lecturer if IT was okay. My final result also had to look different. However, he also assessed your work. Best grade. Thank you.
If you enjoyed the video, please consider supporting me with a like, comment, or even a subscription. Thank you, Art Invaders. And we see us in the next
week.